morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for adding a little extra joy to that song of joy, Carl. Welcome to Second Unitarian Church. I'm Andrea Redfarn. My pronouns are she and her. Today we are in person at the Admiral at the lake, the 2U Sanctuary here, and continuing to meet virtually using Zoom. We ask everyone's indulgence for the complications of a three-part service. We are glad you're here, whichever way you're attending. If you're in the sanctuary and would benefit from hearing assistance, we have devices available as well as noise-canceling headphones for both adults and children with noise sensitivities. Please see our tech team in the back. We welcome people to wear masks during the service. This practice prevents transmission of COVID and helps us center the needs of those who are most vulnerable. We especially welcome newcomers and visitors this morning. Finding a new community and making new connections can be challenging. Please know that we're excited to have you and look forward to getting to know you. If you're new to us today, please note that in the Zoom chat or mention it in person during conversation after the service. If you would like, there are blue mugs that you can use to signal to others that you would like them to come up and say hello. We also always need people in the kitchen after coffee hour, and that's a great place to see old friends and make new ones while lending a helping hand. Our worship today is led by Reverend Jason, and you, the members and friends of 2U, along with Karen Goldner as worship associate. Music is provided by Reverend Allison Farnham, Abigail Klein, Evan Fazio, Ben Tompkins, and the Director of Music, Carl Kennedy. Our time together requires a large group of people who make possible the worship, the music, and the technical production. They are listed in the order of service, and we thank them for their ongoing care of our congregation. I have a few announcements for you this morning. Grab a dish to share and join us tonight here in the sanctuary at 6 p.m. for our 2U Night Out, which is a potluck and a movie. We'll be celebrating the 85th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz, officially kicking off our 2024 Fall Fest fundraiser. Speaking of Fall Fest, we'll talk about the magical night in a second. We're happy to announce that this year's theme, as you guessed it, is Over the Rainbow. We'll bring you a magical night with musicians and performers from the 2U community, a silent auction and paddle race, a catered dinner and cocktails, activities for your munchkins, and more. Please see our order of service for more information on how to get involved. We are excited to announce the partnership with Tune In Chicago, a Lakeview-based, youth-led organization committed to providing a flexible, free online music curriculum and facilitating access to musical instruments for students in underserved areas. This project will run through September and aims to collect 150 musical instruments to be distributed to 4 key locations across Chicago, fostering musical talent and providing essential resources for children and young adults. If you have a musical instrument and you'd like to donate, please contact Carl Kennedy, our Director of Music. If you'd like to donate monetarily, you may do so through our regular Breeze Giving portal, selecting Musical Instrument Drive as the giving option. We are also seeking drivers to help pick up, drop off instruments. We appreciate your support, however you're able to continue. Lastly, starting next Sunday, September 1st, the Drum, D-R-U-M-M Allies Group will introduce a question of the week. Each week, a question will be posted on the dry erase board in the Palmer Room above the donation box and included in your order of service. Please use these questions as a conversation starter during coffee hour to connect with someone new or someone you don't usually talk to. This is part of our ongoing effort to foster deeper connections with our community and ensure that everyone feels included and welcomed. In just a second, I'm going to welcome Carl Kennedy to make an announcement, and then Karen Goldner will lead us to our call to worship.
So my announcement was the instrument drive, which you already heard about. So if you would like to contribute, if you'd like to be a part of it, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Again, we're looking, if you have any extra instruments that have been sitting around collecting dust, we can use them. And that can be band instruments, string instruments, wind instruments. We'll take all offerings. Again, we can accept cash, and that money will be set aside, and then we'll just be able to donate that money directly to the benefiting organizations, and they will be able to purchase the instruments directly themselves. So if you don't have something, you can still contribute. And yes, we need drivers who would be willing to help transport, pick up, drop off, and so on and so on. So if you have questions, holler at me. Thank you so much.
We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults, a people of many beliefs and traditions, bound not by the specific list of things we believe, but by the values we share, where we keep love at the center. Whether you are joining us for the first time or for the 1,000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all of the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. Whatever your race, whomever you love, whichever way you move in the world, however much money is in your pocket, you are welcome here. I invite you, when you feel ready, to take a breath in and out. As the music begins, let us enter into our service together. We'll find joy in the morning, joy in the morning, joy in the morning, in the morning, we find joy. We find hope in our children, hope in our children, hope in our children, in our children, we find hope. We find strength in each other, strength in each other, strength in each other, in each other, we find strength. There is love all around us, love all around us, love all around us, all around us. There is love all around us. There is love.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. In just a moment, Ryan here in the sanctuary and Harris at the Admiral will light our chalices, the symbol of our faith. But before we do, I did just want to take one moment to say something about your beautiful bodies. It is warm in here, that we're working on the AC and doing our best, but take care of yourself as much as you need. And that we also are not having children's programming today during the service. And so if you're noticing that your body is feeling fidgety and wanting to get up and move around, whether you are 2 or 62, please get up and fidget around how you need to move. So please do with your body the things that you need to do with your body, because you are sacred and welcome here. But we light our chalices this morning with these words from Reverend Joan Javier Duval. Whether tears have fallen from your eyes this past week or gleeful laughter has spilled out of your smiling mouth, whether you are feeling brave or brokenhearted, defiant or defeated, fearsome or fearful, whether you have untold stories buried deep inside or stories that have been forced beyond the edges of comfort, you are beloved. So please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our opening hymn, number 1008 in your teal hymnal, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place.
When our heart
join me in the words of covenant? They're printed in your order of service and on the board. We covenant to build a community that challenges us to grow and empowers us to honor the truth within ourselves. We will be generous with our gifts and honest in our communications, wholly faithful to a love that embraces both diversity and conflict. Called by our living tradition, we will nurture spirituality within a vision of the eternal, living out our inner convictions through struggles for justice and acts of compassion. Reverend Allison will lead us in singing our congregational hymn, Spirit of Life.
So each year at our church, we make a pledge, a commitment to support the shared ministry of the life of our congregation. In addition to this pledge that we make each year, we take a contribution on Sunday mornings so that we can share with those who are doing justice work well beyond our walls. We aren't all able to be in the sanctuary together, but we can all contribute generously. And so during the music, you will see a phone number on your screen, and in your order of service, you will also find a phone number where you can do a text to give contribution. For the month of August, we've been sharing our plates with the Unitarian Universalist Prison Ministry of Illinois, of which Reverend Allison is the executive director and minister. And we've heard quite a bit about their work. And so we won't be hearing about their work again this morning, because on the last Sunday of every month, we hear from a committee lead, ministry lead, or team lead within our congregation about something that they are working on and the ways that they're serving our church and ways that you might be able to get yourself involved. And so this morning we have some words from Andrea.
Hi, I'm still Andrea. I am the chair of the pastoral care team. And as a team, which also includes Reverend Jason, we're here to provide support for our congregation, which includes all of you. Unfortunately, life gets messy, and we want to be there for you. Perhaps you need a compassionate listening ear or a ride to or from an appointment. We also will make hospital visits. We are available if you're sick or homebound to run a quick errand. We also we'd also like to check in with people we haven't seen in a while. As the old proverb says, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to support a community. That's where the pastoral care team comes in. If you or someone you know needs support, please contact the pastoral care team at pastoralcare@secondunitarian.org. Also, if you'd like to be part of our team helping others, we'd love to have you. Feel free to talk to Christy's here today, as well as myself. I'm not sure if James is here yet, but or Reverend Jason, because we'd love to have you on our team. Thank you.
Now, I invite you to join me in reading our offertory words. The words are printed in your order of service and are on the screen. This church is the community of ourselves. Its energy and resources are our energy and resources. Its wealth is what we share. As we contribute to the life of this community, we affirm it and enable its participation in the larger world around us. The offering will now be generously given and gratefully received.
Let's take some time to attend to our innermost selves, to our embodied selves, and join me in the spirit of prayer or meditation. Let's start by breathing together. Find your body in the space that it's taking up. Feel your atoms vibrating at the edge of your skin, expanding your beautiful, bountiful expansiveness. Knowing your body is sacred and beautiful. Attend to the breath in your lungs, feeling your chest rise and fall, your belly expand and contract, taking in air that we all share in this incredible world that we're part of. Attend to your body. Let us turn towards gratitude. May we be thankful for the breath in our lungs, the beauty of our earth, and the strength of this, our beloved community. We hold in our hearts those who care for family and ill health, those who live with grief or chronic pain, those struggling with addiction or illness, seen and unseen. We're with you. For parents and teachers and all those whose primary spiritual practice is the care of children, who we think of especially right now as school begins, we are with you. Pray for our neighbors in prison, for those who are struggling to stay afloat in the midst of poverty, for migrants who are fleeing and seeking, finding new homes in our city among many. We are with you. Pray for all those living in harm's way. Pray for our planet and commit to work that will lead us away from the harms of climate chaos. As war and genocide rage on, we continue to pray that wisdom, compassion, and empathy guide the leaders of our world, because they and we must be instruments of a just and lasting peace. Our lives are truly blessed by those who knowingly, with curiosity and courage, face their final days. And into this, our shared silence across space, I invite you to speak aloud the names of anyone you wish to lift up into the loving support of our community. With our deepest compassion, let us hold in our hearts those named and unnamed, those remembered and those forgotten. Let it be so. Amen, and blessed be. During our ritual of lighting candles for joys and concerns, we want to continue taking care of one another. So in the 2U sanctuary, I'll invite you forward momentarily, and you can light a candle of concern or celebration, and then I invite you to use the hand sanitizer that's present. For those of us at the Admiral, I want you to come forward and take one pebble from a bowl, hold it tightly in your hand, putting your energy into that stone, and then knowing your joys, celebrations, concerns, and sorrows to be shared by this community, let it go lightly into the other bowl. And for those of us joining via Zoom, I invite you to share your joys, concerns in our chat window. these our shared joys, celebrations, concerns, and sorrows close to our hearts. Karen, would you share our first reading, please?
Our first reading this morning is Letting Go of Certainty, written by Reverend Beckett Coppola. Let go of the idea that you know what breathing should feel like. Just notice the breath as it moves in and out of the body. Let go of certainty. Be with the breath as it is. Allow openness, allow curiosity. Notice the mind, each thought that arises. Allow openness. Don't judge your mind or your experience. Be loving in your curiosity about each thought. Let go of certainty. Let go of any idea about what you should be thinking, accepting your thoughts exactly as they are. Be with yourself as you are. Be curious about who you are. Love how you are in the world. Gently take a deep breath, maybe even a big sigh. Re-enter the present moment and the stream of your life.
I like that sigh part. Our second reading is entitled To Be a Person by Jane Hirschfeld. To be a person is an untenable proposition, odd of proportion, upright, unbalanced of body, feeling, and mind, two predators' eyes face forward, yet seem always to be trying to look back. Unhooved, untaloned fingers seem to grasp mostly grief and pain, to create too often mostly grief and pain. Some take in witness suffering pleasure, some make of witness suffering beauty. On the other side, a creature capable of blushing, who chooses to spin until dizzy, likes what is shiny, demands to stay awake even when sleepy, learns what is basic, what is acid, what are stomata, nuclei, jokes, which birds are flightless, learns to play four-handed piano, to play when it is needed one-handed piano, hums, feeds strays, says, all together now, 1, 2, 3, to be a person may be possible then, after all. Or the question may be considered still at least open, an unused drawer, a pair of waiting work boots, to be human. Let's hear our anthem.
brings you back to solid ground. I gotta keep my heart wide open, though the waves, they push me around. I gotta keep my heart wide open till my faith brings me to solid ground. We gotta keep our hearts wide open, though the waves wanna push us around. We're gonna let's keep them, our hearts wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground. Come on now. Get funky. Get dancing. Hearts wide open, though the waves push us around. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open, though the waves wanna push us around. We're gonna keep our hearts wide open till our faith brings us back to solid ground.
Thank you. Wow. Feeling the spirit in that. Before we get into our intended reflection space and celebrating our open pulpit, which I'll share a little bit about and then begin opening it, I want to check in with you about something. I'm curious, those of you who are longtime friends, longtime visitors, or short-term or longtime members of 2U, if you've heard us talk at all in the last few months about the Fall Fest. Maybe raise your hand if you've heard about that. Basically everybody. Who here has heard us say we need a chair or co-chair for the Fall Fest? Many of you, not everybody, but many of you. It has been the intention to share with lots of love and care and invitation that we need shared leadership at our church. That the ways things get done, the way things happen here is because Andrea gets up here and says, the pastoral care team needs you, and we want to serve you, and we want to be with you to create community together. It happens because Karen Goldner gets up here and serves as a worship associate, having gone through worship associate training and being part of community and leading us. Happens when our band comes together and creates music and makes church happen for us. So too, our Fall Fest, other than our annual pledge drive, is the largest fundraiser for our church. And we don't have a chair or a co-chair at this point, and it is just a couple of months away. I want to express deep gratitude for all the ways you do rise up and step up and share and create church. And I want to express a little bit of concern that we're struggling so much to get somebody to fulfill this role. And my concern about this in particular is that Brandon Nick served as the Fall Fest chair last year and did a phenomenal job, which you may recall. But yes, we can always celebrate that. And Brandon has now come on staff. And I think there may, in the back of some of our minds, be this expectation that, oh, well, now it's just a staff-run program. That is not true. Brandon has done an enormous amount of the work preparing us for Fall Fest. The host committee is, or excuse me, the planning committee is set. There are members, I believe 7 members of that committee ready to go. They just need a chair to organize them. The mailings are ready to go. The text to bid program is established. The plan for how we're spending our time with performers and MCs is all set. There's so much work that's already been done. What we really, 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 really need is somebody who's going to be the conductor for this, to gather that team together once a week to make sure all the pieces are sliding into place, to ensure that all of the silent auction items are in, to make sure we're doing outreach, and to strategize, communicate, and plan with Brandon closely to ensure that this is an incredibly successful event that brings in about $30,000 for us at 2U. And so I want to keep this invitational, obviously, but also push a little, because that's part of what church is about, that we get pushed a little bit, to step out of our comfort zones, to take things on that we're like, maybe, and then remember that there are other people who are gonna hold you and love you and care for you. And then next year, when we talk about how you were the chair, everyone will clap for you. And that's gonna feel really great. And this is something that I'm really hoping over the next 24 hours, somebody will email Brandon and say, or during coffee hour and say, you know what, I haven't been ready for this. I haven't been ready to take this on, but now I feel ready. And it's not out of guilt, it's out of celebration of who we are. And so I hope that you can hear this as a celebration of our ministry and not fear of what happens if it doesn't go through. I know it's going to go through. I know somebody's is going to step up and make this happen. We always do. And so I trust that. I have faith in you. And so I invite you to see for yourself if this is something that will come up for you as a possibility. And co-chairs are just as welcome as chairs. So if you share with Brandon, you can do it, and someone else does too. Collaboration, what a joy. So I will end my kind of reflection about that here and appreciate your gifts to our community. This Sunday, though, it descends from a practice in our church of having outdoor pre-pandemic picnic gatherings on the last Sunday of August to have like an open mic space to share music and poetry and stories. And that in so many ways is the essence of what makes Unitarian Universalism to me so special and unique at times, that we have what I think is appropriately called the people's pulpit, that it doesn't belong to clergy alone. The pulpit is to belong to everybody within the congregation, that we believe, in language that I've used before, that may or may not fully resonate with you, but we believe in the prophethood of all believers, in the sense that everybody who is part of Unitarian Universalist community has wisdom to share about what it means to be Unitarian Universalist, and that our lived individual experiences, our connections to art, to music, to whatever it is that moves us, that we want to share with others, can be part of cultivating and creating a meaningful faith community. And so this morning, you may have seen over the last couple of weeks an invitation for people to sign up to utilize our open pulpit. And so I have 7 people signed up. If at the end of those 7 people, there's time, we can have more folks who feel so moved by hearing others to want to come forward and share what is on your heart. And so think of this less as an open mic, which is a beautiful, fun thing to do, and more as a spiritual autobiography process of people just kind of sharing parts of who they are in the fullness of who they experience themselves to be, and in the creation of church community that is playful, sacred, reflective, and hopeful. And so, Alicia, would you begin us off?
Good morning. So, I would like to talk to you about why my favorite person is a 3-year-old girl. I met Violet, not her real name, before she was even born. Her family is one of my dog walking clients. I started walking their dog about 4 years ago when the family had a 2-year-old boy. About a year later, Violet was born. I walk their dog every day, Monday through Friday. Last year, Violet's brother was in school full-time, but Violet stayed home with her nanny. So I began forming a relationship with her as I came to her house each day. Soon, my 30-minute dog walk visits turned into hour-long visits, with half the time spent with the dog and the other half spending in what we now call our snack and chat time. We would share a snack and talk about everything. She is very smart, funny, loving, and very, very chatty. I could sit there for hours and not say a word, and she would fill in all the time. One of her favorite things to say is to anybody, "Alicia, that's not a good choice." And I lost my place. She loves to talk and is very good at it. We would tell each other about how our day is going, talk about animals, talk about food, and talk about our babies. You see, she has a baby doll named Jacob, and I often bring my baby dog named Penny to her house. And she soon fell in love with Penny and began walking her as I walked her dog. On these dog walks, we would explore the natural world with great joy and curiosity. That's the thing I love about toddlers and preschoolers. They express such unbridled joy and a never-ending sense of wonder. As our friendship grew, she began saying the most loving things to me that just melted my heart. Once recently, as I was returning their dog to them after they had been out of town because the dog was boarding with me, Violet turned to me and said, "Will you be my friend forever?" Sometimes just out of the blue, in the middle of talking about other things, she will turn to me and just say, "I love you." It just melts my heart. The other day, I told her I was going to write a story about her for today's church service. I asked her if she knew why I would do that, and she answered, "Because you love me." That day, I went to leave, as I always do, without much fanfare, but she ran over and gave me a big hug and kissed me right on my tummy, because that's as high as she is. I have had many young children as friends over the years, but no friendship as deep as this one. What is it about these kids that moves me so much? They live who they are. They aren't afraid to show their emotions or share their thoughts. They have no filter, and it encourages me to have no filter. They have yet to be overcome with shame and self-doubt like those of us who are much older. They are true to themselves and bring out that authenticity in me. They bring out the joy, the laughter, and the love that is often missing from our everyday lives. They help us to be in the present moment, grateful for what is, not disappointed in what isn't. They also live to imagine how beautiful life could be. Violet is often talking about the things that we will do together someday. Most of the time it's just pretend, but I play along because wondering out loud about the beauty of possibilities makes life so much brighter than limiting our thoughts to reality. One day soon, Violet will also go off to school all day, and our snack and chat sessions will come to an end. But I don't dwell on that sad future. I revel in the beauty of our friendship today.
What a gift. Thank you. Marion, I believe you signed up to be up here. Wonderful. Come on up.
This church is really special to me and my family. It's somewhere we go to worship, love, and help out others. I've learned how to be kinder, how to stand up with my pride, and how to never give up. I've learned so many things from this church, and it's really special to me. And I really, really love this church. And I love every single person in it. And I'm done.
And Marion, we love you too. You are very loved by your church in return. Brandon. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brandon Nix, the Director of Administration. This is Myrtle. So, as you've heard by now, Fall Fest is happening over the rainbow this year. I wanted to give you a little insight on why The Wizard of Oz was selected and kind of have a little insight into my mind when you see marketing things happening. So a couple weeks ago, a group of us gathered in Oz Park. We explored the timeless themes of The Wizard of Oz, specifically through a UU lens. We walked among the statues of Dorothy, Toto, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Lion, and then we stopped to reflect on how these characters resonate with our own journeys towards wisdom, love, and belonging. Dorothy's famous mantra, "There's no place like home," prompts us to think about the many places that we call home. Oz may not be Dorothy's Kansas, but it becomes a home for her through the community and the purpose that she finds while she's in her time there. In Unitarian Universalism, we too find home in various places, whether it's our church, our families, our chosen families, or the communities that we build together. Home is not just a physical place, but a spiritual place and a state of belonging where we can fully be present and connected. The Scarecrow, often underestimated for his lack of a brain, actually demonstrates deep wisdom throughout his journey in Oz. His story challenges us to look beyond superficial judgments of one another and recognize the inherent worth and dignity in every single person. In a world that often values knowledge over compassion, the Scarecrow reminds us that the true wisdom is rooted in kindness, empathy, and collaboration with one another. As a community, we strive to create a place where everyone's unique gifts are valued, where inclusivity is not just an ideal, but a daily practice. The Tin Man's longing for a heart speaks to the central role of love in our faith. He believes he is incapable of love, yet his actions reveal a deep capacity for it. The character's journey highlights the importance of the balance in intellect and emotion, of recognizing that our humanity is shaped by both our thoughts and our feelings. Love is at the center and the core of our Unitarian Universalist covenant, and it's through love that we build meaningful connections with one another. We are called to express this love in our relationships and our communities and in the ways we work together to create a more just and compassionate world. As we journey through Oz tonight at our movie night in Potluck, hope to see you there, and later on in Fall Fest, I invite you to reflect on some of these things. Where do you find home? Where do you call home? How do you practice love in your daily life? What lessons can Dorothy, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Cowardly Lion, the witch, whoever, how can you connect with their spiritual journey? Let these questions guide you as we continue to explore what it means to be UUs, rooted in our principles and open to the wisdom that each of us brings to our own shared paths.
Thank you, Brandon. Gerardo, where did you disappear to? You were here. Okay. And I'm also noticing a couple of our people who are signed up on here. So Karen, how about you next?
I just have to say, after Alicia's comments, no one has ever said to me that I needed to get rid of a filter. Anyway, this is a poem I wrote from when I was traveling around, relevantly here in North Carolina, toward the Smokies. It's called Driving to Bryson City. How can there be so many shades of brown and gray and black and deepest green, such a narrow palette, and yet so rich against the white of fresh snow? Colors named charcoal and taupe and olive and moss and hunter and liver and sienna and Tuscan brown, yet no color chart truly illustrates the hues. And how could it? Subtle, shadowed, ever-changing. The road is lined with stark trees, and the mountains ahead hold forests of them. From my windshield, there are silhouettes of brownish gray and grayish brown, brightened only by the occasional stubborn leaf from last year whose rusty brown would seem plain in any other season. Pines are the neighbors of the leafless towers, of green so dark that it fades to black instantly as the sun begins to drop behind the mountains. And where is blue today? She has been overcome with 1,000 shades of gray and white, alternately threatening and teasing as I drive toward the Smokies and gaze ahead in simple and complete awe.
I'm wondering if maybe Steve or Timotheus are online as opposed to here in person, because I don't see them. Tech team, noticing them? Thank you. Not a Steve or Timotheus. Sometimes we sign up for things and life changes, and that's okay. That's part of the deal. I want to then see if anybody else, as you have listened to others, feels so moved that you want to share with us. And it need not be something originally created. If there's something that you have heard many times before. Last year, somebody got up and shared a piece of Shakespeare they had memorized, which I always say is so impressive. But this is all, yeah, please come on up. Love to have you. I'm gonna get you a stool. Oh, you got one. Thank you, Carl. We're just gonna put this up for you.
I'm gonna sing a song that was remade by Kids Bop, but the author was Olivia Rodrigo. I got my driver's license last week, just like we always talked about, 'cause you were so excited for me to finally drive up to your house. But today I drove through the suburbs, crying 'cause you weren't around. You were probably with that blonde girl who always made me doubt. She's so much older than me. She's everything I'm insecure about. Yeah, today I drove through the suburbs, 'cause how could I ever love someone else? And I knew we weren't perfect, but I never felt this way for no one. And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone. Guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street. And all my friends are tired of hearing how much I miss you, but I kinda feel sorry for them, 'cause they'll never know you the way that I do. Yesterday I drove through the suburbs and pictured I was driving home to you. And I knew we weren't perfect, but I've never felt this way for no one. And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone. Guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street. Red lights, stop sign, I still see your face in the white cars. Front yards, can't drive past the places we used to go. 'Cause you know I still love you, ooh. And I knew we weren't perfect, but I never felt this way for no one. And I just can't imagine how you could be so okay now that I'm gone. Guess you didn't mean what you wrote in that song about me. 'Cause you said forever, now I drive alone past your street.
Perfection. Love that. Beautiful. Thank you. Well, why don't we also all sing? So why don't you rise in body or spirit and sing our closing hymn? You heard it at the beginning of our service, Joy in the Morning.
I'll play it once through.
I want to invite you to rest your hand upon your heart, or clasp hands with those you're sharing your life with. And let us celebrate the voices we've heard this morning. Voices of our congregation, voices that shape us, that mold us, that make us Unitarian Universalists. Let us know that these voices in song, in poetry, in storytelling, and readings, all of them make us renewed in our faith. So as we go forth into this week, let us do so with attention to the gifts our people give to us time and time again. Go in peace, beloved.